Welcome back to our second episode of The Road to Success. We're here with Andy Doctor from RNDKBD. He designs and builds custom mechanical keyboards, and we are so lucky to have him on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming on, Andy. So, was your business created as a personal project, filling a need in the market, or both?
It started as a personal project, but then it kind of evolved to fill the need in the market. And I'll tell you how that went. So I don't know why I got into mechanical keyboards, but here we are. And I had done a little bit of a design for one that I wanted to produce. So I did the solid modeling, the CAD work for it, and I had someone in the States with a large 3D printer make it for me. And then I put it together and enjoyed it and showed it off on Reddit, and I got messages from a bunch of people that wanted one of their own. So I arranged a little bit of a group buy and had a bunch of people get one, and sold 50 of them in my very first kind of attempt at the thing. And then it just kind of took off from there.
Cool, yeah. So, how did you balance attending university while simultaneously starting a new business?
I was a little bit lucky on the timing of that, because I actually started doing most of my keyboard work when I was on an internship. So I was just working 9 to 5, so I had lots of time in the evenings to kind of do that. Had to skip out on some of the finer things like watching TV and playing video games, but you get most of it in. But then I kept the business going when I was in university. So, and even if that did mean, taking a step back from actually doing the production and stuff like that, I found time on weekends. And, if you love something enough, you make time for it. And the less important things will just kind of fall away.
Yeah, so it became like a passion. That's awesome.
Big passion.
So, what are some of the mistakes you wish you could have avoided when starting your business?
Think that I should have lined up the amount of like the scalability and the amount I could produce with the amount of demand. Right now, I'm kind of limited on how many keyboards I can actually make versus how many people want. I know that's a good problem to have, but yeah. So, and for my case, that would mean having more printers, bigger printers, or just having contacts that are able to produce them quite fast.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
do you have any advice for others that have a business idea but are maybe too afraid to pursue it because they don't think they have enough time or they think it'll cost too much money?
If you're finding that something is kind of missing in your life, or you don't like your job, or you don't like what you think you're going to be doing, it's kind of like one of those risks that you can take that, it's not only for financial reasons, but, like the old cliche goes, if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. Right. So if it ends up being a lot of hard work, like, for example, I'm lazy, but when I was just starting doing building commissions and stuff, I'd come home from working 8 hours and I'd work six more just doing soldering or talking with clients or stuff like that. So don't be afraid of actually committing to it, because if you love it, you're going to want to do it more. And then from a financial side of things, you just got to do the numbers. And if it's feasible or somewhat feasible, or even if you're just in YOLO mode and there's a 10% chance that you might succeed and you really want to do it, go for it. What do you really have to lose?
Very true, yeah. So, how has COVID affected your business and how have you kind of adopted to the new market?
Yeah. So a lot of my stuff is shipped by mail, and of course, COVID has kind of slowed everything down to a crawl. And then a lot of my stuff also comes from China as well. All the circuit boards and stuff are made in one little business park in China that's pretty close to where the outbreak began. So for the first couple months of the year, it was basically nothing coming out of there. Um, so what that meant for me was I kind of had to look a little more locally. So the person I'd been working with for printing was located like down south in the United States. I'm up here in Canada. So I found a guy in Canada here who does printing. And then for some of the metal cases that I'm looking to machine, rather than getting them made in China, I'm looking to some shops right here in my city. So, and of course there's benefit that comes with being able to, be a 10-minute drive away from where your stuff is being made, rather than just having to communicate the quality through phone pictures and Google Translate, right? So
Yeah, so kind of keeping it
um,
local.
keeping it local, yeah, and then just scaling back and being a little bit smarter with how I'm doing things logistically. If I'm ordering parts, back before COVID, shipping was much cheaper than it is now, right? So I could, if I only needed 20 of something, I could get away with ordering 20 of something. But now I'll make sure it's 100 because I'm going to get, done up on shipping. So just small things like that, and then communicating to customers that there's going to be some pretty long wait times. There will be delays. There's going to be way more unexpected stuff if there's more waves of the virus or whatever. So just making sure that everybody knows that the timelines of the past are no longer valid.
Yeah, did the customers have any issues with that, like those long shipping times?
Less than you'd think, because keyboards are kind of a bit of a interesting world, because it's a lot of one-off designs that are being made by people that aren't, they're not keyboard makers by career, right? It's a lot of hobbyists and stuff. So people screw up, people aren't as efficient, and then there's, if someone's really into the details to make sure that stuff is perfect, they might have things remanufactured if it's not up to snuff. So there's a lot of delays for any number of reasons, and people in the keyboard world are no strangers to waiting 8 to 16 months for a board. So
It's good that they were accepting of that. Yeah.
we've been beaten down and trained into being very patient.
That's great. Have there been any resources that have helped you along the way?
Yeah, the keyboard community, just all the other designers and the vendors out there are actually really great. It's not a cutthroat environment, even though there are some people that have actually been able to make keyboards their full-time job. There's people that are, some big designers out there that are willing to, share knowledge on, the software to use, how to use it, what to look for when you're designing a board, just bounce ideas back and forth, stuff like that. It's not like it's a walled garden and I'm making my stuff and you make yours. There's a lot of collaboration, and people have set up whole Discord servers for keyboard designers that want to learn how to do the SolidWorks side of it, or the PCB modeling, or anything in between. So yeah, it's still a very much a hobbyist community. So there's a lot of helping, and there's a lot of it's a good community to be a part of.
Did you have to like reach out and take initiative in this, or was it like a database? How did it work?
There's a bit of both. There's some really talented people who are also very generous and have made guides and put some data sheets in Google Drives and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff you just got to reach out to people, right? And you can't reach out and say, "Hey, tell me everything you know." It's got to be, build rapport with these people. Small questions here, little bit there, and then once you get to know someone, then you can send them a file for review, or have them Skype you for 20 minutes and work out a problem that you were having, or stuff like that. So you got to network within the community, and you can't just come in all cold. You got to be warmed up and do a little bit yourself before they're willing to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, like related to that, like what kind of networking, like more specifically in marketing, have you done?
Yeah. So my keyboard business actually kind of took off beyond just doing, a post on Reddit and a couple people wanted one. I had a friend who worked for 100 Thieves, the gaming team. He was the media guy there, so he had access to all the players, and he was talking to them about keyboards, and he told them that I was into them and that maybe I could perhaps make one. So I made one for 2 Fortnite players, Cease and Elevate, and they came third at the big Fortnite tournament in 2019. And that's pretty cool to see people using my gear. That 2 kids that just won $1 million each. Yeah, so no, I did a bunch of commissions for pros last summer, and that's how I built my page up, and tagging people, and they would put your stuff out there, and people with a large following, if you get a tagged picture with someone who has 250,000 followers, you get a couple DMs of people looking for stuff, right? And then you just cascade that way and you grow. So yeah, just getting it's nice to have contacts in the industry, and then as you do good work and these people like what you do, you get more contacts and you just keep going.
Yeah, getting your product into the right hands seems to be very helpful. So, to what do you attribute your success?
Um, 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will. No, I would say a good part of it to loving what I do. Um, you know, I really like designing these things. I love doing all the work behind it, and getting to see a finished product that you've designed and use. And when people come into your room and see your desk and they're like, whoa, what is that? That just, it makes my day and it makes me feel good, right? And then of course the satisfaction that comes with having a business, and that just gives you the drive to, like, I'm doing this all for me. Like, the amount of work that I put in is directly proportional to how well I do. There's no, it's like you can show up and sleep under your desk for 8 hours and get the same amount of money and do a George Costanza. And then just a little bit of luck. Keyboards, kind of mechanical keyboards in the whole custom world, kind of got a little bit of help from some influencers in the last year or two. And a lot of people are interested. So for designers and vendors, that's a lot of new customers that potentially want your stuff, right? So there's a lot of people that are out there looking for keyboards, and people like me are out here to fill that up.
How many keyboards have you designed?
I've designed 5. So 3 of them I've done group by 4, went very well. My PLA 75 unit, I sold 50 of them in 8 hours.
Wow.
Is how long it took for all
Impressive.
the pre-orders to fill up. So pretty proud of myself for that. There's more popular designers, their stuff will be gone. I think there was one, it was 100 boards in 3 seconds.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
like trying to get concert tickets for some of these guys. So I'll get there one day. But yeah, so 3 that I've done, and then I've got 2 that I'm working on, that are still just ideas on the computer that are slowly being prototyped, and hopefully will be done before the end of the year.
Yeah. So like, what's your next goal or big landmark that you're shooting for?
So the 3 that I've done right now have all been 3D printed. And of course, people like the aluminum stuff. They like, the heavy keyboards, something that, you could throw at someone breaking in your house and defend yourself with, right? So I've actually looked into getting some of the designs that I've previously 3D printed, machined out of aluminum and steel. So like I said, I'm working with some local machine shops, and I'm working with they're actually a store that does coatings for guns. But they do the same process to a keyboard, because it's all aluminum and steel, and spray a coating on and bake it, and they look really, really pretty. They do up some guns and Counter-Strike skins and stuff like that. So I reached out to them, and they're like, yeah, we can do keyboards, no problem, those are easy. So yeah, and no one else does that, like on a somewhat mass scale. People do kind of one-offs for themselves, but no one is going to have boards done like that. So I'm going to be the first one to do that.
So filling a niche in the market, kind
That's kind of what I do, I guess.
of. Would you ever consider taking keyboard making full time?
Yeah, that's kind of where I want to get to. So if I can keep making good designs, keep growing my customer base. Right now for me, I work as an engineer, so keyboards is just a nice little chunk of income on the side. But I want to get to that point where it becomes a dilemma of like, can I quit my job and actually just do keyboards all day, every day? So that's what I'm shooting for. And yeah, I think that would be pretty stellar if I could do that.
Yeah, turning a passion into a full time job sounds amazing.
That's the ultimate goal,
Sir.
really.
Yeah, indeed it is.
Do you have any of your keyboards with you that you can show us right now?
Oh, I was hoping you'd ask.
Ooh.
All right, well, yeah, I will show you some of mine. Hold on. All right, so these bad boys here are my most popular. The model's called the PLA 75 because it's made out of PLA and it's a 75% size. So this, oh, my cord's not long enough. So that's what it looks like. You can see that it's kind of translucent. You can see all of these little points.
We can't hear you. The keyboard's covering the mic. What'd you say?
Oh, so yeah, you can kind of see all through it. It's made of 2 pieces. And what's unique about these guys is, so they are translucent. So you can see that it's pretty darn bright.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
That's crazy.
So I got lights on the bottom that shine through to make it light up. And then the typing surface is mounted in between 2 pieces of the case. And I actually have rubber strips that surround all of it so that it's completely isolated from the rest of the case. So it's nice and dampened and
a great sound.
Nice sound. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and yeah, I do them up in a whole bunch of different colors, different colorways with all sorts of fancy stuff on them. And yeah, so those are my printed ones. And then here's an example of that coating that I was talking about. So I got this board came to me in ugly, just, standard silver. And they actually wanted it in a really, really nice slick yellow.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
That's crazy.
Yep. Yep. So that matches the keycaps on there very nice. And that's pretty. So that's what I want to do on all of my boards.
That is so cool. So
go ahead.
Or you can continue. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course, this one isn't mine. This is just a one that I have in my personal collection here. You can get into some weird stuff like this, where it's, you have your hands split and your right hand and left hand will each do their own side, and you'll have 2 space bars and stuff like that. So
is that more ergonomic or what's the advantage?
Yeah, it's more ergonomic and yeah, it's better for your wrists. Actually, I'm gonna cut you off one more time. I'm gonna show you the crazy stuff. All right, so shout out to my boy Germ in Saskatoon, gboards.ca. He makes these bad boys.
Oh, so wow.
Oh my.
Yeah, so he does the circuit board design. I actually designed the case for these. And as you can see, it's sitting on a bunch of screws. So that's what will give you your angle when you're typing.
That is so cool. What a unique board.
Yep. And so everything's all in a nice row because your fingers bend up and down. They don't bend sideways like typical keyboards. So really, really cool stuff that's gone into those.
That is fascinating.
So yeah, that's kind of some of the innovation that's gone on. It's not just all standard 10 keyless or 60% keyboards like you would see. So that's kind of what's on the custom crazy side of things.
Yeah, it's crazy how unique the keyboards really get.
Yeah, you can get pretty crazy with some stuff for sure.
Yeah, with these customs, like that has to distinguish like kind of you in a way as well. So that has to help you.
Exactly, right? And it's like for a lot of people too, it's like having if you work in the oil rigs, people like to have their custom trucks and stuff, or if you're a runner, you're going to want to have nice shoes. If you're a soccer player and if you're a hockey player, you get your nice stick, right? So if you're a desk worker, a computer programmer, something like that, what better way to have your own thing? And it's not just some thing sitting on a shelf, right? It's a tool that you're using 8+ hours a day. So
yeah. So what'd you say?
What you tell your mom. There's what you tell your mom or girlfriend or whatever when they ask you why you have 17 keyboards.
So where can our audience connect with you online?
So you're going to find me on Instagram at RNDKBD. You're going to find me on Geekhack just username is Red's Not Dead, one word. That's what the R&D stands for. And then also I'm so small enough that I answer emails and I answer them quickly. So if you have any questions, want to see what a build costs, work some stuff out, even if you just want to chit chat about keyboards, rndkbd@gmail.com. Love to chat, love to help you out. So
sounds great. And we'll put all those in the description as well. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on the show, telling us about what you do. your
This
experience
was
as an
really
entrepreneur.
interesting. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, if you two need keyboards, you know where to go.
I know
Of
where to go
course.
now.
All right, one more thing before I go. I hear you guys are into a little passive online income.
You've heard
We
correctly.
are.
Let me show you what's hot off the presses right here. So this is coming hot and spicy off the 3D printer. So what I'm doing right here is I'm making tiny little boxes. So in the custom keyboard world, what makes the switches go up and down are springs. There's people that sell springs and they have a whole bunch of weights of them. People don't know, do I want a light one? Do I want a heavy one? Somewhere in between. And you know, you don't want to buy 10 bags of 100 of them to just try one. It's also annoying for the people who sell springs to have to put them all in individual bags if someone wants a sample of 10. So I got these guys making them. Oh yeah, there we go. You can see it. Might not focus, but we got really nice high detail printing with you know, which one is in there, the company logo on it, and all of that good stuff. And then yeah, you'll just pop your 10 or 11 springs in there, ship these bad boys. Yeah, so I've been working with a spring manufacturer that wants a couple hundred of these made. So I just have my printer running. You know, I set enough to print that'll take up 23.5 hours. And every day I come in here and put a new batch on and take them off. So passive online income.
Oh,
That's
my
great.
goodness.
Yeah. It's all about figuring out how to make money when you're not doing anything.
Mhm.
POI, you know, it's
It's the key
we all
to
grew up
life.
playing RuneScape, right? You want to be able to AFK farm as hard as you can.
It's doing that
Very
in real
true.
life.
Very true.
All right, I'll let you guys go now for real.
Thank you so much.
All right.